Today I want to talk about supercharging with Tesla Network and what it is that makes it so amazing. Now, just recently we heard that they're going to be unveiling version 3, which is in test phase right now, and it's going to be coming out, rolling out in North America in the next few months, and then in Europe last half of the year. So this is really one of Tesla's biggest advantages right now, and people don't really realize it, but really for long distance travel there is nothing out there that is the same as supercharging. There's a couple reasons for that, and I'm going to kind of go into those today. So one of the main reasons is that they have so many stations. In most places that they have superchargers, there's usually a minimum of 8 stalls. And in some of the big ones, I think they're getting up to crazy numbers like 24 and higher than that, I think possibly in some locations. And so the big thing with that is, one, that there's usually always availability, and unless you're in in California, which they tend to be quite tight and there's often lots of lineups. And that will change because the version 3, what you get is each single stall has full speed, which it doesn't right now. 2 stalls are shared for full speed. So that's one of the things that's going to be different about version 3. And the speed, currently only for Model 3s, and it'll probably change going forward, the speed is double of what it's taking right now. Now it peaks and it stays at that only for a very short rate of the charge, and then it tapers tremendously. Other cars have a peak for longer. They hold their charge longer, like I believe it's the Audi e-tron does that. And so anyways, so when you're looking at long distance travel, it starts getting to the point where you're going to be doing, a trip, say you're doing 500-600 kilometers, and you only have to supercharge once, and it's long enough to basically just take a bathroom break and get a snack, and that's about it. That's how quick it'll charge. So that's huge. That's really huge. And the other thing is that supercharging is just such a good network because there's so many different ones. There's not a lot of times where you're going to get to a supercharger and you won't be able to charge. The only time that's going to happen mainly is because there's a lineup and there's a queue, which does happen occasionally, but it's not super common in most areas. And that's the thing with other networks. They're not really rolling out huge numbers, and right now there's not a lot of cars that can take really anything over 100 kilowatt charge right now on the market currently. There's only really the Audi e-tron. I don't even think that they're still rolling it out, and that's just in Europe. And so the rest of them can maybe get up to 100 kilowatts. Like the I-Pace and the Kona and the Niro EV cannot even reach those speeds. And then the new coming Nissan Leaf Plus or E Plus or whatever it's going to be called depending on where you are in the world. So really they still have a huge thing, and I think one of the things that people don't realize, one of the downsides still for some of the infrastructure is that there's just not enough charging stations. It's changing for sure, but a lot of the other charging infrastructures, it's changing. It's more in Europe and probably more in the US, not so much so in Canada. A lot of places they just have 1 stall. So if you come to pull up to charge, which has happened, you're waiting, and there could be a lineup at a single DC fast charger, and it doesn't, most of the time people are there for at least half an hour longer. So, the lineup can be kind of long, even if you only need to charge for 5 or 10 minutes. And so this is also changing. This is changing. There's more infrastructure coming for sure, but it shows how much Tesla still has a massive lead to the superchargers. Now in Canada in particular, there's definitely some big holes where there aren't any, and that's okay. It's changing. Hopefully by the end of this year, beginning of next year, we'll have version 3, and that will make driving across Canada completely possible on superchargers alone, which you currently cannot do. And so, and still for that, like they're still in the major population areas. I mean, Canada's a huge country, so that's the other thing, that the population is low and it's a massive country. But despite that, there is still, for major routes, there are superchargers. And then also in the States, I mean, you can pretty much drive anywhere in the US on superchargers, so that's pretty amazing. And with the speeds that you can charge at, I know, you know, for me personally, having a Nissan Leaf, like, you know, you're talking about double, triple the charging speeds, and with the new version 3, it's even more. So that is really an amazing thing that Tesla has, is their superchargers, and that they're not neglecting them. They're still rolling more and more out in certain regions, and with the Model 3, you know, now hitting Europe, and the Model Y coming in a couple of years, there's going to be literally hundreds of thousands to millions of Teslas on the road in a very short period of time. So they have to keep on rolling out more superchargers, which they are doing. So that's really cool to see. I think the charging advantage is massive. I think the biggest thing in most cases is that they work. They're not as buggy as other chargers can be. And so I think that's also another really amazing thing there. They tend to be a little bit more robust, and I think they take care of their chargers better than some of the other charging stations out there. So we'll see how things progress, but it's super exciting. I'm excited about it, and we'll see. You know, I'll do probably another video down the line to see what has changed and what is changing regarding version 3 superchargers. So until next time, talk to you later. Bye bye.